There we go. And welcome to Live at the Manor with Dr. JJ. And here we have our last series of the Friday afternoon speaker series on Pride Weekend. And what a treat we have. You can see the rainbows are up. And I'm going to welcome our wonderful greeter. That's Susan Johnson, my co-host today. Over to you, Susan.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you for coming to, as he says, our last episode in the series. We're going out in a blaze of glory with William King, who will speak with us about don't be a drag, be a queen. William?
My boy.
Thank you. My name is William King, and I am a homosexual, and I have been known to wear drag. Just to give me a moment, I have an accessory that's been lent to me by the church. I'm going to try to keep it. Because I'm from the Elizabeth Taylor School of Wardrobe, but I wear it, I keep it. Oh, it's on the cross, okay. Okay, get on the cross, dear. And I've had to sort of chop it up because I needed the wood. This is the rainbow flag in all its glory, which is a symbol of freedom for the gay community. What part of being gay was a drag? The part that was the drag was denying it, to deny who I was as a gay man. It took a while to accept it because I'm going to be 77, so I came out at 27. So that's 50 years, and there was 27 years to prepare for it. One of the things that haunted me about who I was the Shakespearean quote, "To thine own self be true, and it must follow as a night the day, that cannot be false to any man." Denying my sexuality, I was being false to me. It's not something I talk about a lot, but it's given me a freedom and allowed me to do things that were only a fantasy at one point. I got to the point in my life that I could give me permission to do things. One of the things that I learned to integrate into my life as a gay man was to volunteer, and to volunteer for fundraising events, for events and causes that were very close to my heart. I joined the cast of DQ first as an usherette. And usherettes led people into their seats and sold them product. And one of the things we sold was a lipstick by MAC, which they created for the AIDS research. We sold sweatshirts. We did that many years. And then we actually got on the stage. I actually became a performer in it. And the chap that I had done usheretting with became the chair of the committee. So we went our different ways, but we were working for the same cause. DQ was formed to help with the purchase of Casey House, the only AIDS hospice in Ontario. And it was so needed. It was so needed. And the first DQ show raised the last $36,000 that the Board of Governors of Casey House needed to secure the purchase of the house. I have a great respect for those men and women on that committee and the men and women who put on that show. It is something AIDS taught us, that we were a community and we were there to support one another. I have volunteered for Pride. I was in a low-grade depression. I thought a very good idea was to be the volunteer chair for Pride in 1996. It was interesting because I'd never got involved in an organization that also had political leanings. And I can remember they were sending out a letter to the community on Church Street. This is a free event. And I went, this is not a free event. We are paying for a lot of stuff and we need to get some payment in common sense. So they started a Looney Tooney drive. And that gave me and another friend the opportunity to be a part of Pride, not being isolated and wandering up and down the streets. We had a purpose. We were out there to get your money. We believed in this. And we did 4-hour shifts, and we had a competition between the two of us who raised the most money. Sometimes motives aren't pure, but they worked. Being a gay man has so changed. One of the things I'm very aware of, our government was quite progressive in granting us rights. And I've gone to other countries where I've kissed those rights goodbye because they are not available to me. It's essential that I don't take those rights for granted. I like my quality of life as a gay man. I don't take it for granted, but I'm very comfortable standing here with jewelry and yards of fabric, I know now where I can borrow some. So that's good.
What?
It's talking.
Very active in the community.
The thing is, I'm no longer surprised by gay characters in a theatrical production. I was once interviewed for an article in the Toronto Star on gay and gray. And one of the things I said to the interviewer was, the gay character no longer commits suicide at the end of the second act. We continue to thrive and grow. I think that that's essential. I'm now a senior citizen.
He's 77.
And I have to honor that, but I can't deny that I have fun. I enjoy being who I am. I just take it for granted. I'm going to New Brunswick next month. I know I'll have to do a bit of de-escalation. That's okay. I choose to do that. And that's my choice. I don't feel that that's being imposed upon me. it's one of the biggest things about being a gay man is there are so many choices. And I think it's very important that I exercise those choices. Many years ago, Pride was only on one side of Yonge Street. We used to come up north on Yonge Street, and the other side had traffic. And it's sort of like you had the out gay men and women on the right side of the street, and on the left side of the street, you would just see people, oh, I just happen to be downtown. And I thought, well, I hope you can make the, the cross to this side, to find that courage. I'm still amazed at what we contribute to and how we contribute. The arts are so full of gay men and women who are teachers, whose words and actions speak for themselves. It scares me when I see gay bashing. And it's exciting to see a young man or woman come to the realization that they are gay and it's okay. There's someone there to nurture them in a loving and supportive way. I have fun as a gay man. It allows me to play. It allows me to dress up. It allows me to wear certain clothes. I can remember being in my 20s and carrying an umbrella, and people would pick me up because they didn't want some person walking down the street carrying an umbrella. And I went, okay, your issue, not mine. I like this opportunity. I was nervous about this opportunity. But I know 24 hours, 48 hours, I'll have another form of strength that I chose to say yes. I think it's important that I say yes to myself. I have to accept that I'm homosexual. And that's an honest statement, one that I've had to work on every day of my life. Some days are easy, some days are not. But this is who I am. And I've learned skills. I knew how to sell. And when I, got involved as a volunteer, got active in my own community, didn't sit back and criticize, but got involved, did the work, asked for the money, volunteered, went to memorial services, went to hospital beds, argued with nurses, and then went out and raised the money that helped us to be where we are today in the fight against AIDS. It's still there. It's still there. There are so many things that are still there that need our work. One of the things that, as I walked up to this church, there was a rainbow flag out front, and there are behind me. Would I have seen this in my church 50 years ago? No. We need to honor people who have set paths for us. We have to remember them and know the need is still there. The want is still there. And one of the things as I woke this morning that just hit me, I need to be more present in the gay community. I need to be an example that there is validity in being a gay man. There is validity in extending our rights, making myself feel present. In 1996, when I was on the Pride Committee, we went to one of the major banks and asked for some financial assistance. And they said, "What's in it for us?" This year, I can walk by that same bank and they're waving the flag and they've got the logos up. They know that we are a valued presence in the financial community. So, be gentle to yourself. Find ways that you can contribute, be it emotional, spiritual, mental. And if you can do it physically with money, then support that. My neighbor contributes to the Rainbow Railway, and I'm thinking, I need to look at that. I need to look at that. That need is there. This is a safe country. We have protection. You know, the only person who can really, that's really hard to acknowledge my sexuality to was my mother. Once I told my mother, nothing else mattered. That's the big challenge. Be present in our own families. It's no longer a secret in my family. It's not a secret I'm taking to the grave. I went to my brother's wedding and my mother is taking off her mother of the groom hat, and she said, "I think that was the last wedding. This was in the last century." And I said, "Yes, mother, it was the last wedding." I still have the opportunity to marry. That's still an option. Seems very far-fetched when I haven't had a date in 5 years, but I've chosen not to follow that path. I like my own company. I like me. You know, and I am aware that if there was somebody who was available to me, that person would be made known. Because I accept who I am And I am grateful to share this time with you. It's been cathartic for me, and I hope that I've helped you look at yourselves, not in judgment, but in acceptance. Acceptance of you, of I, of us, as gay men who live open and honest lives. Thank you for this opportunity. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, William. Truly, it's probably a couple hundred questions many have, but you want to clarify, DQ. I know many people think it means Dairy Queen, but you want to maybe...
DQ is drag queens. And they made fun one year of that title because somebody thought it was Dan Quayle, who was not the brightest vice president they ever had. But it's drag queens, and they did this. And what was fascinating about DQ, these drag queens actually had support staff and dressing rooms and a proper stage and proper lighting. They were not dressing in a bathroom in the back of a bar. They were given validity, and they earned it, and the community responded. Thank you.
I'm sure there's a few questions out there. If people want to unmute and ask questions, put your hand up. And anybody that... Gary Coates, you have a question.
Yes, am I muted or unmuted?
You're unmuted. We can...
Oh, okay. Why was DQ stopped, and why hasn't it started again?
Why was DQ stopped? Why doesn't it start again?
Okay, it's my understanding it ran for about 12 years, and it just was a huge enterprise. And the audience had changed. Our audience tended to be between 30 and 70. And the younger people were not interested in that type of entertainment. You know, it's a huge, huge commitment. It's months of rehearsal. It's months of fundraising. It's writing a show and making it as professional as they can. I know I got a great deal out of it. I know what it cost me. There used to be a statement in the drag community of, it costs you $50 to walk out the door. And that's basically new hose and new makeup. Don't even talk about shoes, don't talk about dresses, don't talk about jewelry. You know, it was an expensive proposition. But there wasn't a want to from the community to support it. That's the way I saw it. I hope that satisfies your question.
And other questions from people.
I have a question.
Ron Gabriel, yes. Mr. Question, come on.
Hello, Ron, how are you?
Hi, William. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you. Most enlightening. I wanted to ask you what changes you had seen in Pride celebrations since you were involved in '96.
How many?
What changes have you seen in the Pride weekend, the Pride parade, the Pride celebration?
Okay.
Since '96.
Okay. In 1995 was the first year that Pride was over 500,000. There was the year that the corporations started to sneak in. Air Canada's union marched in it to get more recognition. The armed forces marched one year. The one contingent that's always been a contingent was PFLAG, Parents of Lesbian and Gay Families, which always brings a resounding round of applause to see the support of a parent for their child. Then the other thing that is phenomenal is it is now de rigueur that the leaders of the various political parties march in gay pride. The prime minister shows up for pride. The leader of the opposition shows up for pride. Other parties show up for pride. That was unheard of at one point. The only thing is, someone has to tell Justin Trudeau, you don't wear the same pink shirt 2 years in a row.
Fashion tips by William King. Oh, it's always good.
That's good.
Now, question to Bill, because Bill's on the call, my lovely husband. Well, didn't DQ run for about 20 years?
Can we get Bill if we do this?
He's done. Well, he's told me. Well,
So yeah, it ran for 20 years, 10 shows, and it was the first community group that raised $1 million for Casey House.
There you go. Yes. Okay. I thought so. So anybody else have a question? Susan Johnson, do you have a question?
I have another question.
Not really a question, but just actually the question would take another whole session to answer, but I'm just thank you for coming in and for being so honest. And thank you to everybody who's, dealt with everything over the years. And just, make it easy for us, tell us what we can do. We've learned about PFLAG and Rainbow Railway and all that. But there needs to be more. And that's what we really need to know.
Thank you.
Any other questions? No. Well, thank you, everybody. It's been truly remarkable as we celebrate Pride Weekend. And tonight's the Trans March. That's at 8 o'clock. The Dyke Marcus is at 2. And Saturday, you're more than welcome to join Manor Road United Church at G9. Gather at 2 o'clock and wear your rainbow colors. I'll be there. And I'm just thrilled that we can actually gather again and do this, not just virtually. And I'm going to say this is actually our last session for the season. We're going to start up again in the fall in a different format, but it's been an honor and wonder. William King is a storyteller par excellence. Never a dull moment with William. And it's been an honor to hear his, just a portion of his story. William could write a book. So I'm going to pass it back over to Susan.
Thank you again for coming. And every session that we've had for the last 2 years is up on YouTube. There will be a link to it on Manor Road webpage. So thank you for coming. Hope you enjoyed it. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And look for